Hello everyone, it's your host, Seth the Programmer, and today we are doing the heavily requested Bleach videos. And the video we're going to be starting off with is, of course, the protagonist of Bleach, Ichigo Kurosaki. Why he's stronger than people think. Now, a lot of people have been coming at me saying that Bleach is featless. They have shown nothing more than even town level, or they're all just fodder. So I thought I would go into some examples of why they're actually very powerful. And, you know, it's unfortunate that this show got canceled, because this show is actually a really big inspiration for me when I started writing. I loved all the designs of the characters. I thought everyone was really badass. I mean, it's a show about death gods. You can't really not be badass. Out of the Holy Shonen Trinity, it definitely takes the cake in that department. Credits to my boy Darsh and Psycho. Sorry if I didn't say your name right. They helped me out with a lot of my calculations, of course. They're really deep into Bleach calculations and lore, so they definitely helped me out find a lot of stuff. This video will not be going over speed. This video will just be talking about destructive capacity. And if you like Bleach, you like you like what I do, be sure to hit that subscribe button. There's going to be more Bleach content in the future. And if you want to see more Bleach content for sure, be sure to hit that subscribe button, comment that you want to see more, etc. I'm considering doing Sosuke Aizen if this video does well, so keep that in mind. And of course, guys, there will be spoilers, alright? There's obviously going to be spoilers. If you've only seen the anime, there's going to be some spoilers, because there is a manga after the anime. So if you've only seen the anime, you're going to be seeing some spoilers. Also, I know this intro is long as fuck, but we need to go over Yuha's name. Okay, I don't know if that's how you say his name. I don't know if it's Yawak, Yuha, Juha Ba, Jehovah. I've literally heard 800 different ways to pronounce his name, so I'm just going to be calling him Yuha, so keep that in mind when you're watching this video. The best way to scale Ichigo, especially end of series Ichigo at his strongest point, is definitely to scale him to Yuha, who we just mentioned before. Since Ichigo scales to him as they fought each other in like the end of Bleach, and they were relative to each other in power. You could argue Yuha's a little bit stronger, but it's established you need a relative or superior level of Ryatsu or spiritual pressure to damage an opponent in battle. Okay, and Ichigo, of course, does this with Yuha. This is established in Ichigo's fight with Kenpachi, when Ichigo couldn't even hurt Kenpachi because Kenpachi was so fucking strong, and Kenpachi literally fodderized Ichigo's Shikai. Like, he literally just stabbed through his sword, and Ichigo couldn't even cut him. And he couldn't come back until he controlled his emotions to amp his spiritual pressure, and then came back and defeated Kenpachi. So that's a perfect example of spiritual pressure being reliant on your attack potency and your durability. So after Yuha absorbed the Soul King and Mimihagi, Yuha has enough power and the spiritual prowess to stop the worlds themselves from crumbling apart from imbalances with just his unconscious spiritual pressure. Now, what are these worlds? As we know, the human world is pretty much just Earth, with the Soul Society being somewhat of a spiritual parallel world with an equal balance to Earth. It can be implied that they're around the same size to each other. And then Hueco Mundo is also a parallel world, although its size is never really touched up on. So basically, Yawak's presence keeps all of these worlds in check and together from falling apart or being destroyed. Now, many people say this is due to simply being the new Soul King, and after absorbing the Soul King, he's the new balance of the world, and are still a little skeptical of that being a good, indication of being at least a planet level threat. I can see where you guys are coming from with that. However, this isn't the only time Yawak or Yuha has been stated to be a threat to planets. In fact, in the Bleach manga alone, it is literally stated and implied over 7 times that Yuha is going to destroy the worlds and recreate them into a new one. 7 fucking times. Alright? You literally can't deny and say it's a hyperbole, because it's consistently stated he's going to do it by other people, and it's Yuha's literal plan that he's going to do if not stopped. You really have to look at this from the author's perspective. The author's intent dictates that Yuha was going to destroy all the worlds and then recreate them into a new one, or else he wouldn't have all the characters literally say it every other chapter. All right, look at this from the author's perspective. He's saying Yuha's a planet buster, at least when he gets to the peak of his powers. Hell, even weaker beings have hinted at multi-country to continental damage, let alone Yuha, who can basically one-shot almost everybody except for Ichigo. Good example of this would be, look at Yamamoto. Yamamoto's Bankai was literally so fucking powerful that it could create over 1.5 million degrees Celsius of heat and kinetic energy and harness it into just his blade, so he could cut through just about everything in the verse. If you didn't know, 1.5 million degrees Celsius is literally as hot as the core of the sun itself. And not only that, but even when attempting to restrict its power into his blade and not do any collateral damage, Yamamoto still couldn't hold the power to his Bankais for long, and if left unattended, his Bankai would destroy the entire known Soul Society. Yawak then steals this power, meaning that Yamamoto's Bankai could possibly erase multi-continent level distances and possibly destroy the Soul Society, which could be comparable to the Earth itself if you want to highball it. Yuha was also stated to elevate the Vandenreich to the royal realm while not even at his full powers. Some speculate that this in itself could require exatons of force and moon level energy, although it's still argued about to this day, so it's not exactly the strongest point, but it is, supporting evidence that they could reach planetary levels. But in short, you have numerous statements in author intent, placing Yuha at a planet buster at least when at his peak, and absorbing Yamamoto's Bankai on top of his powers, which could already destroy the spirit world. It's not really up for debate anymore. I mean, if you as an author said 8 times in your story or 7 times in your story, hey, this guy's going to destroy the world, are you lying? Why are you having your characters say this 7 times for it not to be true? Like, is Tite Kubo lying to people? Like, why else would he say this 7 fucking times in his manga? I mean, just get real. I mean, like, I get that they don't really have that many feats in Bleach. It's mainly all statements, but it's like, come on, man, 7 times. Ichigo was stated to have the power he defeated Aizen with in just his base Shikai state. Meaning, yes, that badass, super powerful final Getsuga Tensho, that one-shotted transcended Sosuke Aizen, is literally Ichigo's new base Shikai form, as stated by Yuha. Ichigo then literally chops Yuha in 2 with just his Bankai, and then goes into his Hollow Bankai form. Even the normal visored and basic holification forms were comparable to that of Bankai, as shown how captains usually need Bankai to fight a resurrected Espada, and whereas Ichigo and Grimmjow were both relative to each other before and after transforming, meaning Ichigo with his Bankai was fighting base Grimmjow, and then after using his visored mask and Grimmjow turned into resurrected, they were still relative to each other. The Bankai, as stated by Yoroichi earlier in the series, usually amplifies the user's spirit pressure by around 5 to 10 times, meaning the Ichigo that gutted a possible planetary level threat then magnified his power by 5 to 10 times that. Yuha even states that Ichigo's power is magnificent and that he has no room for error when fighting him, so yes, they are actually relative to each other in power, or else he wouldn't say he has no room for error and uses Almighty. He even hinted that he didn't want to use his Almighty when the fight first started because he wanted to savor the fight, but was forced into it. Remember that the Almighty also doesn't give any known stat increases, it just gives insane hacks to affect the future, in which Ichigo was somehow able to counter it. I'm gonna have to call Tite Kubo out on that one, but he was somehow able to counter the Almighty. This means that in the end, Ichigo is comparable to Yuha, more than likely slightly weaker, obviously, because you need help beating him, but around him at least, and is due to such at least a planet buster or planet level threat. Possibly a few times greater with Bankai and Hollow scaling. And if you guys wanted, some more like lowballed calculations, if you're like really not a fan of the statements, even though it was numerous times and it's clearly author intent for them to be that way. Okay, let's say if we're only going by feats, they're at least continental levels. At least continentals. I would honestly go with multi-continental levels. And possibly even small planetary. The reasoning for this is, look at Kenpachi when he unlocked his Bankai versus Gremmy. Gremmy summoned a meteor that's like as large as the Sarate. Some people have scaled the Sarate to be at least twice the size of Texas, and some people even say it's a small country or a country in just general. And Kenpachi, he destroyed this fucking huge ass meteor that's almost the size of like a country almost. And the meteor is also ablated, meaning it's going at least 2,000 meters per second. It was going to obliterate the entire Sirte, which you could say would require 20 to 40 teratons of TNT. And then you multiply that by 10 to 100 times for, you know, the Bankais and all the holification forms. They're just at least continental levels and possibly multi-continent levels, even using just feats. But when you go with scaling and author intent, like I've been saying, that it is at least planetary level. But other than that, he's just a lot stronger than people give him credit for. And thank you for watching. And be sure to subscribe and hit that like button if you enjoyed for more Bleach videos. Till next time.